World War III. Is it upon us? Is it that time? World War III is how you define it. And it's always been going on. The Korean War was part of World War III. It just shifts around. It's never all over the world. But there have been these peak concentrations, just like you find in World War II. There's a peak concentration, and because it overran Europe, the Eurocentric people who were writing the history wanted to say, oh, this is World War II. It's very egotistical. But we go from the Korean War then to various other, maybe smaller conflicts in less important parts of the world, less strategic, and then you go to Vietnam. In the 1990s, that war was basically a proxy war. But nobody's paying attention to China. And if you don't want to consider the Cold War with China and Vietnam and everything else that's going on in that part of the world, that you don't see that it's heating up also. All around Korea, all around this tension now, this past year, with the offshore boundaries, international waters, the region in between China and Japan. These are old wounds that have never been healed. They're being opened up again. These scars are being ripped open. They're fresh wounds now. And this is World War III. This is so. I don't think you want me to be philosophical and just give you this controversial overview, but that's what I have to do each time to wake people up, because you can't have this adrenaline rush kind of mentality to think that World War III is going to be when they're dropping nuclear bombs. This has been the myth that has been shoved down your throat, and you're so stupid to swallow it. That's not World War III. You have to understand that it's really starting in the midst of the Depression of the United States, which affected the whole Western Hemisphere and beyond. And that's like the end of the 1920s into the early 1930s. Say, well, but there's just war here for this 5-year period. That's just war there. There's no way to say that we have war in 1939. Scan the globe. We have war. If we have war going on. Well, on the other token, the other side of the coin, you could say there's peace. We have all these things for peace. We've got this, and we've got smartphones, and we've got time to play our video games. Your video games are all about war and killing and carnage and chaos and apocalypse. It's upon us. Don't be looking for any more. Don't be looking for, the Egypt revolution. They took out this president, or the Greece is going into riot. Iceland is kicking out all their bankers and restructuring, and they're stealing all the gold, and Germany can't get their gold back, and every step of the way you're still asking. The war is on. When you're going to see an increase of the shooting and the dropping bomb, that's increase of the shooting and the dropping bombs. That's to take it more serious. Like, this is serious shit. Just because you're not in the thick of it and you think you're protected, it's just a matter of time before it comes for you. So you better have your exit plan. I know that that's going to be considered illegal to be talking like that at some point, but not for me. I'm comfortable. I'm going to know what to do when it happens. I'm totally prepared. I know how to roll with it. Bank runs, internment camps. They're already doing chemical warfare all over North America, for example, and everywhere else. Is chemical warfare going on? Biological warfare? Yeah. You know, it's Big Brother. That shows that we're in the midst of a war. They want to say the increase of the police state. There's always been a police state here. That's a sign of war, too. So, here's my prediction, since you listened so long. I'm doing these long videos now. For several months I haven't been doing these long, epic videos. Anyhow, what are we going to see with Ukraine past 24 hours? And by the way, I did watch AMTV, that's Christopher Green. I was checking it out because he was shown to be one of the related channels to mine. And I usually watch his videos like every couple months. So I was just catching up on his material. His latest videos are very good, very well produced. He's got some good funding. And he's talking about Ukraine. So he put out the 2 videos within 24 hours. So his one last night was talking about the Russian tanks rolling in. So I had already said, or maybe I didn't say it in a video. I was having some phone conversations with people. Russia has stated that it will protect Russian ethnics that are within the boundaries of Ukraine. So, you know, these are Russian nationals or their descendants, family of Russians, and they're concentrated around the Crimea and the Black Sea, the ports that they have there, and they have a military fleet which can access the Mediterranean. It always does, in fact, and that's where they go into the warmer waters, and they go into the Middle East, and that's where they're going back and forth overseas to Syria and everywhere else they go. And basically, Edward Snowden, did I mention Edward Snowden? And so basically those tanks are rolling in there, and you know, there's warnings, there's advisories that the State Department and the DOD of the United States is giving and saying, you know, don't go in, don't interfere with this revolution. It's like, you know, what right does anyone have to do whatever they're doing? It's a war, and it's a covert war, which I consider is a cowardly war. If you don't declare a war, and the leader doesn't come out and have the cojones to say, you know, this is our target and this is why, and I stand for that, then it's just sneaky freaking bureaucracy going on. And nonetheless, it's war that is being conducted by cowards